Number 2, this is going to be Mars. Number 2, Wilt.
Oh, Jesus.
I've got my official top 100 list. I think any true basketball fan should have one.
Dang. You got it all?
And,
We're all
in order?
frauds. We're all frauds. We're all frauds.
Yeah, I stopped
you're
at
all,
20.
you're all,
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie,
frauds
bro.
if you're not working on, at least working on your top 300 list.
You have to get to work.
Do you
You
know-
have to get to work.
Pirate, do you have a photo or something? Do you have a photo that you can send to the private chat?
I got it right here. Unfortunately, see,
Put
the
him in
deal
the tight
is,
zoom while he reads it.
Did Bill Walton make the list?
of course he did.
Is it top 100 all time?
Yeah, top 100 all
Go
time.
ahead, go ahead, Pirate. Let's read off your top 100.
You want all 100?
Yes, we're gonna have a
Go ahead.
beautiful TikTok.
Yeah, I want to
Okay.
see
Alright.
see this top
No one
100.
interrupts as we get through this
Yeah,
top
all
100.
in order.
Need the
All
end.
in order.
Actually, wait, before
I
you
mean-
start, what was your criteria like going into making this?
Good question. Good question.
So yeah,
wait,
I think anyone who says they have an exact criteria is lying to themselves. I think there are far too many factors to actually have a pure criteria. But roughly, I would say my criteria breaks down to 20% best year, 20% top 3 years, 20% top 7 years, 20% complete career, 20% whatever the hell I think I need to factor in to to make it correct.
20%
So-
miscellaneous, basically.
20% miscellaneous
20%
/ eye test / obscure factors that should be considered.
Okay.
So all right, let's go.
Yeah,
Number
wait,
one.
wait.
Number 1, Jordan. Number 2, this is going to be Mars. Number 2, Wilt.
Oh, Jesus.
Damn.
Okay. Well, here's the other caveat to the list that it's basically broken down into groups of 5 because this kind of ties into what you're saying with Beasley versus Bird, which I agree with. I think he probably would beat him. You know, I mean, a couple big things that made Bird great was he could rebound, he could pass. That doesn't come in. That doesn't play when you're playing one-on-one. You know, basketball's a team game. There are 5 guys on the floor. So basically, it's groups of 5 of the 5 best at their position. So you could think of the top 5 would basically be the all-time team. Starting 5, the 6 through 10 would be team 2, etc.
Okay.
So with that considered, MJ, Wilt, LeBron, Magic, Duncan, top 5. Number 6, Kareem. Number 7, Bird. Number 8, Kobe. Number 9, Steph. Number 10, KG. That's another one that might be considered a little controversial with some.
I like this list, actually. I'm not going to lie.
Number 11, Shaq. Number 12, Dr. J. 13, here's another one, Karl Malone.
Okay.
Karl Malone, man, I'm sorry, bro.
It's just very convenient
I
placing.
know you
That's
guys
all it is.
get-
Just very convenient placing. That's all I can really say.
I mean, it's convenient
Mars, you're
because
disgusting.
he's the 3rd best power forward of all time.
No,
Number
it's just
14,
convenient. It's just
Oscar.
convenient.
Number 15, here's another one for you. 3rd best shooting guard of all time. Guesses? Anyone? George Gervin.
Oh my. Okay.
I mean, bro, 6'7", 6'7", could score anywhere on the court. Block, rebound. 52, 53% career efficiency? Come on. 16, Hakeem. 17, KD. 18,
Disrespect is crazy.
18, Dirk. 19, Jerry West. 20, Harden. Unfortunately,
So Harden's a point guard, or Jerry West is a point guard.
Jerry West is point guard, Harden's a shooting guard.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Did he say KD yet?
He said KD in that 5 just there.
You said KD.
Yeah, KD,
Okay,
KD 17.
So your whole
KD,
list.
Dirk, and Hakeem was the front.
Oh,
court.
Mars, we got it.
I can't hear 100 of this, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
So what we're hearing is that it's just one, like through 5s. So every 5 is point guard, shooting
Every
guard.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah,
Okay, I get it.
so for everyone who's confused, the way you have to listen. So, for example, Magic was in the top 5.
So
Steph
he's the
was in the
greatest point
second
guard.
5. Then the third point guard on who he had was
Jerry West.
was it Oscar Robertson was the third, and then it was Jerry West. So instead of listening to Jerry West at 18, think of him as the 4th best point guard of all time.
Okay,
Exactly.
got you.
Instead of listening, instead of hearing
like
KG, instead of hearing KG over Shaq, because KG was 10 and Shaq was 11. Think of KG as the second best power forward and Shaq as the third best center.
Yeah,
That's how you. So and George Gervin, I can't explain that one. That was
Okay, so George Gervin is second greatest 2 guard to you.
Wait, so you got
George
Wilt, best center ever?
yeah, he has Wilt as the best big ever, best center ever. Yep.
I do
Yeah,
have
three,
absolutely.
I hate
Why
telling
is
good
Gervin
people
gonna
that
be
news.
Wade?
Take all the hype that people have for Victor right now. Take all this.
No way.
He can
No.
handle the ball, brother.
Let him get it off. Let him land.
Brother.
yeah, you got.
If you think Victor can handle the ball because everyone's playing 5 out and there's no real defense, take a look at Wilt Chamberlain for the Globetrotters. All right, and then tell me that Victor can handle the ball better than Wilt.
Can I ask you one
Yeah.
question? Can I ask you one question?
Yeah.
I
Wait,
mean, why did Will blow that 3-1 lead in '68 though? Like, what happened there? Like,
Say what now?
What happened there? Why did Wilt Chamberlain blow a
Yeah.
3-1 lead versus the Celtics? What happened? And the year before that, he smoked Bill Russell. So what happened in that year? What happened? Please.
Well, I don't know if you're aware of how when you condense a league down to 9 teams, and then you have one team that has an extremely high level of talent like the Celtics, it's very hard for other teams to break through. Like, it's not a coincidence. It's not a. What happened the year before was that Wilt Chamberlain averaged fucking 8 assists that it took 50 years for a big man to break. And if you think Jokic just is like the first big man who could pass in the last 50 years, like, you have to factor in the difference in the
He
game.
wasn't passing because he was
Okay,
a good
okay.
passer.
So how did he blow 3-1? Wait.
Pass the
Did
ball,
he?
man.
How did
I
he
don't-
blow 3-1 then? Because I need that answer. Like, what happened in that year to where he blew the 3-1? What happened? What happened?
I don't, because basketball is a game of 15 players, and no matter how good you are,
Okay.
no matter how good you are, every basketball game has 240 minutes of floor time, right? And the very most one player can play is 48 minutes.
So can you explain to me Wilt's playoff translation real quick?
Yeah. Would you like to start with when he won the championship, averaging 29 rebounds, 23 points, and 9 assists for the playoffs?
You can also talk about your.
How's that playoff translate?
I want to talk about George Gervin being at 3, the third greatest shooting guard all time. That's why I want to talk
That's
about.
not
Yeah,
true.
sure.
We don't gotta talk about.
Yeah, we can get to that, but Wilt Chamberlain.
Yeah,
Even
I
if
wanna-
Wilt Chamberlain, even if because you put each 5 is in order, correct? Like from 1
Yes.
is the best.
Yes.
So you think Wilt
absolutely.
Chamberlain is not only the best center ever, which
The
I
second
get.
best player of all
You
time.
think he's the second best player?
I do. Yeah. I think
I don't think this is 2K, bro.
I can't think of a single reason as to why. that nigga is in the top
the fact that you have to translate Wilt Chamberlain's talent to 2K is pretty amazing. In the last 100 years, how many 7'1" barefoot human beings have you seen who can?
How many 7
Who
footers
can?
have blown
Who
a
can?
3-1
Who
lead?
can? At 7'1" who can bench press 500 pounds?
Oh,
Who can run? Who can run a 4.740? Who the Washington Redskins wanted to draft to play tight
Nigga,
end?
do you think that's
Bro,
actually
things are
real?
running track, bro. The
No,
Redskins are running
okay,
track.
we can assume all of that is true. I don't think anyone
being
doubts
on bench
athleticism.
Who in college had a high jump that would have qualified for the 6th best, if he were an Olympian, would have qualified for the 6th highest high jump in the world at 7'1"?
Pirate,
Run
listen,
100
all those.
400
No one's denying.
Fucking
No one's
y'all.
denying Wilt's athletic capabilities. Everyone thinks that Wilt is like some anomaly of an athlete. No one's denying that. But
Yeah,
he's
and
still
so
not He's
Okay,
still
go on.
not better than someone like LeBron, Kareem. He's not the best center
Why?
of all time. He wasn't
Why
even
isn't he
is he a
better?
better
Kareem
center
was
than
better
Wilt?
in college and then
why isn't he better
Yeah,
than
yeah.
Kareem?
I do know this about Pirate has Bill Russell very, very, very low. I will say that very low. Like you'll be
Relatively
surprised.
low. Relatively low.
He has him like
Six.
as like the 9th best center.
I don't even think
No,
Wilt
no,
is
no,
better
no,
than Wilt.
no, no. The
The
7th.
one, the nigga's
7,
playoff
close
translation
enough.
is
It was
weak.
low. I knew that.
And two, there was years where he actually had a built team around him. Wasn't he with the team with Jerry West and Elgin Baylor and still managed to lose in the NBA Finals or something?
Yeah, they lost.
Bro, I
Did he
don't-
also still manage to win in NBA Finals?
Yeah, in 72.
Dang, that's
Yeah,
winning
okay, so
by
those-
stuff, KB. That's winning by still, bro. You're
Bro,
winning
He
by
didn't even
stuff.
win
Bro,
the
that
most.
is
So how
winning
was it
bias.
winning
Like,
bias?
if
He
you've
didn't even
ever
win the
played
most.
sports, anyone who's ever played sports understands that, you know what? Guess what? Sometimes the ball bounces the wrong way.
No.
No,
Sometimes
Not to
I
blow
guess-
Oh,
I
the
guess
ball
it
never
bounced
bounces
wrong
the
way
wrong
a
way.
little- a
You
little
can't
too
say
much.
that, bro.
I
You
guess,
can say that
man.
about
You
anybody
can't
ever,
say
bro.
the ball bounces the wrong way.
Then why
So
would
if
you
Ray
say
Allen
he
misses
bounces
the
the
shot,
wrong
what
way?
happens?
I think you can. I just think that Wilt Chamberlain, and as respectfully as possible, I don't think he played the most optimized basketball game for winning for like the first 4 years of his career. So I can't really.
I agree. No, I
So
agree.
I think after that, so let's say around 64 onwards, he retired in 72, 73. So he played maybe 9 years where I'd say he was playing at a winning level of basketball. And then I
Out
would
of
also say
13.
I'd also say, yeah, out of 13. I'd also
I'll
say
agree.
then his teams, I think, were talented enough to compete, and they did compete. They were making deep
And they
playoff
did
runs,
compete.
making finals runs. But when you look at the level of success he had and how often I would argue, not they lost because of him, but he definitely didn't give them the best opportunity to win. I'm thinking 1969 finals when he somehow gets injured, which I don't know what happened, but he couldn't play anymore. Hurts his team's chances to win. 1970 game 7 when he makes one out of 27,000 free throws and they lose that game and Willis Reed is on one leg.
Fair enough.
1968 when Philadelphia blew a 3-1 lead to Boston after they had already beat them in 5 games the year before. Wilt Chamberlain wasn't tremendously great in that series either. Like all of those things where if you want to call it winning bias, you can. I'm just looking at his individual performance, win or lose. It seems like he seemed to not play as good as maybe the numbers would suggest in most moments that would be significant for winning. And then we say the ball bounced the wrong way and that Boston had this extremely talented team, which they did. They were very talented. But I think Wilt Chamberlain's teams were second in terms of talent, or you could argue number one in terms of talent. So I think that's why I think Wilt Chamberlain gets a bit too much of a benefit of the doubt compared to a guy like Bill Russell, where we say Bill Russell's teams were very talented. But Wilt Chamberlain had his fair share of talent as well and didn't echo similar levels of success.
He had some talent, but again, and this is something that I've learned over many years of sports betting and studying players.
Yes.
That listen, bro, like if you pit, you can pit two teams against each other that have equal talent. And someone's going to win, someone's going to lose. You can pit two teams together where one team honestly has 55% of the talent and the other team has 45% of the talent. And that team that has 45% of the talent is still probably going to win about 4 times out of 10. And so if that happens to be during the championships, that's just the way it goes, man. Like if you honestly think, if you honestly look at sports and you think that every championship has always been won by the best team, then you just don't understand probability.
We agree with you.
Yeah, there's no doubt that I agree, and I'm not.
This
I
boy
want to
is
make
killing y'all, man.
Yeah,
Damn.
I told you. I
wild.
love Pirate knows. Me and him be talking in the comment section.
Yeah, and hey, Mars, it really is. It's a pleasure to finally speak with you guys face to face.
Yeah,
I've been a fan.
And I want to make it clear. I'm not saying that Wilt Chamberlain needed 6 rings or whatever, because I'm not the rings counting guy.
I know. I think you honestly you assess his talent and you don't think it's as high as I think it is.
I think his athleticism is off the charts. I think defensively he was easily the second best defender of that time. Obviously, Bill Russell would be number 1, but I think he was clearly
Nate Thurman.
I constitute Nate because when I think about Wilt Chamberlain, I'm thinking the whole 60s. Nate Thurman is like mid 60s or 70s. So it's the same era, but it's like a different era in my brain. Like, if you get what I'm saying. But
Yes.
Nate Thurman's would definitely be in that conversation. But with Wilt, I think his offensive skill set trumped Bill Russell exponentially.
Yes.
But his talent offensively, I think, held his teams back in terms of how they built offenses. So when he could do more things But then his ability to do more things led to him doing so much that it was at the expense of other people, making the team worse. So it's like counterintuitive that I'm saying someone who could do more, ultimately doing more made it worse. Like Bill Russell knew his limitations, so he didn't take as many shots. He found his offensively gifted teammates. He played out the high post, dribble handoffs, found his teammates. Whereas Wilt Chamberlain could do those things, but then early on, especially his lack of willingness to be a playmaker and pass held his team's offenses back. And then when he elevated 64 onwards and actually added that playmaking to his game, that's where I think he started playing good basketball.
And when he did add that playmaking to his game, what level did he bring his playmaking?
I think Wilt Chamberlain was one of the 5 best playmakers in the league when he actually added the playmaking to his game. 1,000%.
And how?
But when Bill Russell's doing that for a career, and Wilt Chamberlain does that for, because I think once he got to 69, I think his offensive game just tailed off completely and became a defensive guy. Kind of like Bill Russell.
Wait, you can't totally say that though, because look at his efficiency as his points dropped.
His efficiency went up exponentially. And
so he proved, even in his final year, I think he shot 67%. So I mean, he proved all the way up. And if you want to do a direct Kareem versus Wilt comparison, look at Kareem's best year rebounding. Okay, and then
clears him as a rebounder.
Look at who led the league in rebounding that year. Wilt Chamberlain was an old man, and he got more rebounds in the exact same year that Kareem got his highest rebound total.
Yeah, Wilt undoubtedly a better rebounder. But
with Wilt, just to clear, 5 major stat categories, right? Wilt Chamberlain, best scorer. Wilt Chamberlain, best rebounder. Wilt Chamberlain, able to give you 8 to 9 assists per game for an entire season and an entire playoff. Wilt Chamberlain, if they tracked blocks, I believe Wilt Chamberlain would be the block leader.
Probably, yeah.
Probably.
But
just watch games and count how many times he's blocking shots.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But
I want to say a question.
Can I get my point?
Oh, my bad.
Okay. I think when I spoke about his offense tailing off, his efficiency went through the roof. I think his last year was like 70% from the field. Someone can check.
Exactly.
But it's also very well documented that Wilt Chamberlain, in the process of trying to be the most efficient scorer in the league, would pass up shots that weren't basically guarantees for him to score. And I think that also holds him back. I do think if you go and look, there will be many times where Wilt Chamberlain would have a shot, but if it wasn't seen as a gimme bucket, he wouldn't shoot because he was trying to be the leading field goal percentage shooter. And it's those little things that it holds back the overall ceiling of your team, where Showtime brings this up all the time. I think it was game 7 he brings up, where Wilt Chamberlain was 9 of 10 from the field and his team didn't look to get him involved. That's not true. He chose not to shoot. His coaches made it a very clear. Yeah, one of his coaches in LA said Wilt Chamberlain needs to shoot more. We need him to shoot. And he wouldn't shoot more because I believe that, I don't know if Wilt's ever said this, I believe he was very conscious of his field goal percentage and he wanted to lead the league and would ultimately start taking less and less shots. And even though he was getting, at that point, maybe 4 assists a game, his playmaking dwindled because he didn't have the same scoring threat he did from 64 to 68, where I think is his best overall as a player because he was scoring at a very good level. So teams would have to react to that. And he was also passing. Early on, he had all the scoring, no passing. Later on, he had passing, no scoring. Right in the middle is where I think Wilt Chamberlain was at the absolute best of his powers. And you can undoubtedly argue 64 to 68 Wilt Chamberlain is better than any stretch of years of Bill Russell. I won't argue that too much. But what Bill Russell was able to do from 57 to 69, that consistent level of all-time great defense, playing within the flow of the offense is more valuable in my opinion because Wilt Chamberlain was a detriment offensively in my opinion early on. And then later on, he didn't look to score and I also held his teams back. So I think that's why I favor Bill Russell over Wilt because consistently you knew what Bill Russell was going to bring you and it was going to bring you high-level value, whereas Wilt Chamberlain, it seemed like he would play for stats more than actual team basketball.